Hello, hi there everybody there in Facebook land, and hello if you're watching I should say on YouTube. Welcome to my channel, or welcome to my page. I'm Bella and most people know me as Bella the Secret Psychic. So if you are there in either YouTube land or Facebook and you're watching me live, do say hello and hi. This is a live stream event, so for you who are watching this on repeat, do welcome as well. And if you like what you see, do like, do share, do comment. So today we're going to be talking about April 2017 and all of these planets that are all going retrograde in, during the same time frame. And why are we talking about it? Because even though planets do go retrograde, sometimes more than once a year, the fact that it's happening or they're transitioning or changing in this time in 1 month means hold on to your horses basically. So because of that, I'm going to be going through and talking through with you what all these planets are, when they're going to go retrograde, and what their traits are, and what it is they're likely, and how it is I should say they're likely to affect you. So if you're there, I can see some people there. There's Aurora that is there. That is hi, and Inna. Thank you, Inna. If you're there as well, just to see if anybody's there yet in YouTube land. We've got Julie and Tammy Bambi. Do hope you're both well there. So as everybody plays catch up, because I'm about 10 seconds ahead of everybody. So again, what we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about the 4 planets that are going to be going retrograde or already being retrograde as we go through April, what their traits are, what star signs in particular they're going to be affecting more than others. And then at the end, we're going to look at it as a whole picture, how all 4 of the planets I'm going to be talking about may affect you, and why we're doing it is to help you navigate through all those energies as we go along. And then at the end, for some of you who's on my Facebook page or on Instagram, you would have seen that I've also put 3 cards to be chosen as well. 3 tarot cards, which I've chosen a few days ago. And people had to choose between number 1, number 2, number 3, and don't worry, I'm going to show them in a minute, to help you as an added extra, like an overarching energy, something that you in particular need to be thinking about and considering as you also navigate through that energy. So got lots here today, all to help you. And this is what my channel is about. It's about growth, wisdom and strength, about enlightenment, and about raising your awareness, expanding your awareness as well. So we've got a few people here. Hi Amy, hi Suzanne, hi Dawn, hi, hope you're all well there. So the 3 cards we have, this is number 1 to choose from, this is number 2 to choose from, and this is number 3. Okay, it's number 1, number 2 and number 3. Last time I got to answer some questions, because in the photograph obviously they look the other way around, but don't worry, they are in order. So it's just because the reflection of the screen here makes it look a bit different as well. So hi Claire as well. I hope everybody is well. So just wait for a few more people and then we'll get cracking. So what's your experience of retrogrades? We've got 4, and this is the 4 we're going to be talking about, so hold on to your horses. 4 we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Venus retrograde, which actually started at the beginning of March, but we've still got more of it to go in April. We're going to be talking about Saturn going retrograde. We're also going to be talking about the lovely, or not so lovely, Mercury also going retrograde. And we're also going to be looking at Pluto, that also goes retrograde at the end of the month as well. So those are the 4 planets. We do have Jupiter that has been retrograde, but it's been retrograde since December. That's going to be going on for a little while. But these 4 planets in particular, all sort of doing their stuff, transitioning, beginning. Venus coming out of retrograde and going direct also in that month. All of that energy is going to impact us. So why? Why do these planets impact us? Well, as people all know me, and when I talk about consciousness, and when I talk about us, when I talk about all of everything, we're all energy. And so are planets. But also, if you think about it like this, just our little moon has its own orbit. It has its own energy field, and that moon affects water, it affects our energy. It moves the tides, but also moves the sort of energy in our body. Hence why when we have full moons or new moons, they can sometimes affect us in different ways, depending, again, what else is happening astrologically in the sky with the other planets. So if you've got our little moon that affects us, and then you've got our sun that also has its own orbit, which we orbit around, and that's massive energy. All of the other planets have their own orbits, have their own energies, that when they do certain things in the sky, they sit in a certain place in the sky, they affect us all differently. And they affect us all in different ways, depending, again, what our star sign is. So hi there, Joyce. Hi there, Tammy. Hope you're all well. Let me see. Oh, we've got some people saying where they're from. We've got Dawn says they're very confusing. Yes, well, hopefully I'm going to unconfuse it for you a little bit anyway. And you can watch this on replay if you don't get it the first time. Again, it's all to help everybody to navigate through this lovely retrograde we're going. Dawn says sometimes they're like a 24-hour day roller coaster. Yes, sometimes. But once you know that it's coming before you and you know what it does, there are good things and bad things to retrograde happening. Just as there's good and bad when it's going direct. It's just about trying to navigate all those energies. You know, normally you get one transitioning in 1 month, and then you've just got that one to deal with, but you've got 4 to contend with. So it is like hold on to your horses as well. So we're going to go one by one. I'm going to talk about the planet that's currently already in retrograde. But actually, just before that, you're probably thinking, well, what does it mean to go retrograde? Basically, when a planet goes retrograde, it kind of looks like this in the sky, basically. So basically, you've got to imagine a planet it's going forward. But from our point of view, when we're looking, when it decides to go retrograde, it either looks like it's going backwards, just like the image shows there, or it looks like it's not moving. Okay, so from our perspectives on Earth, when we look up to a planet that's going retrograde, this picture is sort of what it could look like, or it just looks like it's standing still, not moving. Of course, it is moving, but what it's actually doing is just going at a different angle, a different degree in its orbit, and so it looks like it's going backwards when in fact it's still going forward. But because of that energy of it going retrograde, what it kind of means basically is their traits are massively magnified, massively more than they usually are. So it's usually meandering, and it's coinciding with other stars and other bodily elements that are in the sky, and all that energy is bouncing around, having an impact in different ways on different star signs. But when it's in retrograde, yes, it has an effect on different star signs, but bigger, and you can use it to your advantage or to your disadvantage. So I hope you get me. Again, just before I start back, so we've got a few more people on YouTube. So we've got Wendy, we've got Amy, Thomas, hi, I hope you're well, Amy, Kirsty, Julie again, Wendy, Jefferson, different Wendy, and V Fry, do hope that you're all well. So Wendy, I'm going to talk about Mercury the last time. I'm going to go through them all. So Suzanne, just before I go, Susan says, I feel they are all the universe ever ready batteries, but instead just go on rundown and have different energies to teach us different lessons. Absolutely right, absolutely right. Seem like big batteries that are just stalling to charge, but as they do, all their energy is like, whoo, have all this extra love, or this extra strength, or this extra whatever from these planets. So with that in mind, we're going to go to the first planet, because we've got a lot to get through. So we're looking at Venus, which some of you would have known from my other lives that I've talked and touched on already, because it started on the 4th or 5th of March, depending on what part of the world you're in. And it lasts all the way till the 15th, 16th of April, again, depending on what part of the world that you're in. And a Venus retrograde is rare. It's not a yearly occurrence. It does come every 19 months, because it takes about 225 days to orbit basically around the sun. And Venus, the star signs that it rules, is Libra and Taurus. And as you can probably guess, the traits that it magnifies is our values and love greatly. And so really, as we go through the retrograde, even though this will affect all star signs in different ways when it comes to their love, or their values when it comes to love, and what it is they want out of love, and what direction they want to go into love, For Libras and Tauruses, also particularly because we're in Aries right now, those 3 star signs are much more particularly affected by the energies of Venus than probably other star signs. Those 3 star signs very much will be focused in on their values and when it comes to love. But here's what else, the good and the bad, when it comes to what happens when we're in a Venus retrograde. So what are the influencing energies of that lovely, beautiful planet? It kind of asks you, because again, you're focusing on your values, to choose really carefully what direction you want to go in love. And particularly, as you'll see as I go down, particularly when it comes to brand new relationships, if you're having a brand new relationship, so one that started within that Venus retrograde period, not before it, or not an old connection, usually I would say try not to get into a new connection if you can, and apart from after the 25th, but luckily we are after the 25th. But even then, you still have to be a bit careful to probably not commit yourself to anybody that is new until after the 16th, just to make sure that it's not just all an illusion, basically, because Venus, because it is big and powerful, can sometimes, for very, very new relationships, make it look like it is more wonderful than what it is. But in fact, after the 16th, you're like, don't know what I saw in you. That would be Venus, okay? But it is asking you to choose your options carefully when it comes to your romances, including anybody that you're existing with. It's asking you to look at what's right and what's wrong with your values. Do they meet? Do they match? If they don't match, are you happy about that? Is there something you can change? If you can't change, should you move on? But also readdressing values or experiences that you had with love that perhaps you're still carrying around, for you to let go of them. And or for people that you had a past connection with or maybe broke up with, come back, for you to be able to reassess whether your values again are aligned and whether you can move things forward. Quite often, as you'll see there, lots of people return, old connections return highly, sometimes to get back with you, or sometimes to trigger a thought, an experience, an energy. Sometimes you may not even see that person, but for some reason that person may pop into your mind at this time but really start to affect you. It's because you needed to work something out, and Venus is saying enough is enough. Whatever was holding you from moving forward, it's time to deal with it one way or the other. But it's also an excellent time to get back with ex people as well. But it is asking you to consider carefully and not just get taken away with all this love energy before you do commit again as well. So again, that leads to no hasty decisions. Take your time. Take your time, because again, when the energy shifts, you don't want to be in a place of thinking, actually, I didn't really mean to do that. So again, you see old lovers to return. It helps you to resolve underlying issues. Try not to make any marriage plans or engagement plans in the Venus retrograde sort of period if you can. So sorry if you're getting married on the weekend. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Usually, it's probably going to rain. It's probably what I'm going to say to you. It's one of those times to kind of avoid. But what it is really good at is job opportunities, careers, new study, new learning, anything like that. It really, if you're looking for a new job, it's a really good energy. Again, from the 25th in particular all the way to the 16th, it's a really good time to sort of have better and good luck when it comes to getting that job you love, or just wanting to move on from a job you don't love to one that you like better, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's all good. So that's Venus. So before I go on to talk about Saturn, which is next to go retrograde in the month of April, and then see if there's any sort of questions from people. So Amy said, my old lover hasn't returned yet, with loads of exclamation marks. He has a few weeks. Yes, I know, Amy, he has a few weeks. Where is he? Laugh out loud. Well, watch this space, Amy, is all I can say to that. We've still got, what, 3 weeks of the Venus retrograde? That's a long time, long time. Hence why I'm doing this a week before we go into April Madness, so that you're all prepared. And Dawn said, preach. Well, there will also be some of you that I know who've seen this where their exes did turn up or came back or, you know, surprised them, who didn't want that to happen. So, yeah, and it's always the way when you're not wanting someone, they're the ones that usually turn up first. They're the ones that we truly want. And I would say with that, yeah, watch this space is all I can say. Oh, Dawn says that's an eternity. Just very quickly before I go on to, so to see what we've got here. Venus and Leo, Mercury and Leo, Pluto and Leo, Saturn and Sagittarius. Wow, that's me. Well, again, this is to help you navigate. Mercury retrograde, my car broke down the last time, yes. We'll sort of talk about what the Mercury retrograde can do. It's not the funnest of energy sometimes, Julie. And an old love return, just like your Aries March video suggested. Thank you, Kim. Well, I'm glad. To be fair, I've been having a lot of my clients where some predicted and some not. Some were a surprise, but some where they were predicted have showed up in this retrograde. But it hasn't surprised me. Every time someone says, "Oh my God," they turn up, I'm like, yeah, it's the Venus retrograde. They're supposed to. Anyway, so we are gonna go to Saturn now. Saturn. So Saturn goes retrograde on the 6th of April. Now Saturn always goes retrograde at least once a year, every year. You know, it's not uncommon, but it's, again, what's uncommon about it is it's going retrograde in a time when so many other planets are also going retrograde at the same time. So it's a huge phenomenon. And it takes 29.5 years to orbit the Sun. Currently at the moment it is lying in the star sign Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius it's for the last 2 years, and they've still got all the way until December. They've had Saturn kind of in their energy, being helpful, and probably some of you would say not being helpful and can't wait till it actually leaves. But then when it does leave, it's not coming back for another 29 years, guys. And I can say that because I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm looking forward to it going completely. But it is going retrograde, so you've got this huge, beautiful, big planet now on the 6th of April, going to be standing still, you know, shimmering, showing its stuff. But it does deal, or its traits are dealing with the psychological and the physical supports that we have, particularly around the psychological. Think about it like strength a little bit, impacting our strength and our ideas, and in the thought form, but also in the physical reality. And the star signs that this planet rules normally is Aquarius and Capricorn as well. But every time it visits a year, it always visits for about 4 or 5 months. So we've got it here till the 26th of August. So what does this lovely ball of fun do? How will we combat that? And remember, this is overlapping now what's happening with Venus. So think about it like this. So we've got Venus in the sky, just dancing there, staying still, and then we've got Saturn now coming in, overlaying its magnificent traits. So the influencing energies. It does ask you, and it's a perfect time actually from the 6th in particular for anybody who's looking to do new study, new courses. You know, perhaps you're already on a course but you were struggling with it a little bit. From that time you become the master of learning is what I want to say. Any new courses you want to take, anything you want to enroll into, anything that you're currently learning, you know, if you've got a dissertation, you're going to fly, you're going to become the master. It's like the best time to start that kind of thing than you would any other time. It's asking you to also revisit long-term goals. If you had goals, whether this was decorating your house and you never got around to doing it, whether this was, oh gosh, you know, you wanted to play the violin, you know, that energy from the 6th is the great time to start doing it, particularly when it starts to go retrograde as well. Even though it's there for about 4 or 5 months, the energy of that learning will assist you for that 4 or 5 months. But if you want to capitalize it just when it goes retrograde, that would be the best time also to do it. But overall, any long-term goals, whether you're traveling, you know, want to grow your nails long, want to, you know, grow your bangs out, whatever your long-term goals are, this is the energy that you can do it in and do it successfully and feel like you've got the strength and the determination. Basically, Saturn He's a bit like a taskmaster. It's like more, more, more. Where can I do more? How can I do more? Where can I learn more? How can you do it? It kind of gives you that kind of energy, which sounds great, but you have to, you know, taper it. You have to make sure that you don't overwhelm yourself, so that you navigate through that energy that Saturn is answering from you, which is to go, go, go. Go for your goals, go and do it, do it, do it. And you're like, yes, sir, I'll do it right now, but can I get some sleep, please, and some lunch? Let's imagine it like that a little bit. So also it's a really good time to start restructuring your manifestations. So your intention setting, because remember, you were created so you can manifest your perspective on things. Now that's a really good energy, particularly if you think about Venus and then you're overlaying with Saturn, that lovely Venus love energy, and then Saturn coming in saying that you can restructure your manifestations. You know, for any of you who are looking for love, that is the perfect time before Venus goes, you know, comes out of retrograde. Between the 6th and the 16th, that is the best time for you to be using your manifesting desires, because they're going to be super boosted by Saturn. Does that make sense? So we've got you have a new attitude to obstacles. So again, this is where Saturn says to you, do it, do it, do it. Instead of you seeing that as a block or a barrier, you'll be like, no, I can see a way around it, because Saturn in a way is highlighting the path around any obstacles so that you can lead yourself to success in that kind of way. But what is overbearing, like I said about Saturn, is it's all go, 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 no let up. No let up. And if you're not doing what Saturn feels is for your highest good, it will put pressure on you. Yeah, and not in a friendly way either. So go with it, go with it. Force yourself, big, bold, everything. You've got responsibility without the limitations. So again, that's a good thing. What you've got to be careful of though, because of that kind of go, 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 and you're not seeing obstacles, doesn't mean that you still can't be mindful about what you should be saying yes to and what you should be actually saying no to. So again, just like with that Venus energy, asking you just to kind of, even though it's there, just to kind of take stock a little bit before you commit to anything, particularly again, whilst you're still in that Venus retrograde period, particularly when it comes to connections, think about it before you commit to something, particularly if it's a new connection. Think about whether it really is a yes when it should have been a no. All right? Sometimes, and I know with my my monthly readings for some star signs, I have touched on this, it can make us feel insecure. So some of the star signs off the top of my head, Leos, for a period will feel a bit insecure. Cancers, and some cancers, some tiny cancers, are not going to have the best time. Not all Cancerians, but some. It can make us feel extremely insecure about what other people think. Again, particularly again, if you're thinking about that transit with Venus, about other people that we're romantically connected to, that we start to kind of let our ego come in and all our insecurities. But that's what Venus's job is, to make sure that you get that out, so that you'll stand in your own power, you know, to choose what values are right for you. But just be mindful, just as you know, you're coming out of the Venus retrograde and Saturn comes in, you might feel a little bit insecure. And some of that might be because you're tired as well, because Saturn's been asking you to go, go, go. So yeah, and then lastly, again, because that insecurity, it can make you feel like you're not assessing the situation correctly. But I would say here it's more like a feeling than it is a reality, that actually Saturn is helping you to overcome obstacles. So the one thing you need to do is overcome any insecurities that also come with that too. Does that make sense? So let's see here. We're all listening intently. If you're there, say hello. So we've got hi Helen, you finally caught this live. I do hope you're well, and you're a Sag as well, Kim. Join the club. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it's sinking in, because I think sometimes astrology, you know, can be like, oh, you know, it's so boring. But it's, you know, sometimes it's important to know when you've got conjunctions like this happening. We all need to be prepared, don't we? So I'm an Aquarius Sun and Capricorn Moon, so this may be good. Yes, because you've been Aquarius. Remember, it's your ruler. So How long does it last? The Saturn lasts for 4 months. The Venus retrograde ends on the 16th. But Saturn always comes into our chart at least once a year anyway. So then we got Dawn says she's a Leo. Forewarned is forewarned. Sorry, I couldn't speak then. Forewarned is forearmed. Don't drop the baby. Yeah, you've obviously watched my video. Don't drop the baby. Yeah, don't drop the baby. For all of you who don't know that, if you're a Leo, you need to go and watch your April forecast because it's titled Don't Drop the Baby, and you'll know what I mean. So particularly with Saturn and that insecurity, Leos, don't drop the baby. So right, let's go to the next beautiful planet, Mercury. Look how beautiful that Mercury looks, even though it's close to the sun and it gets burnt every day, but it's a beautiful planet. But its energies when it's standing still probably sometimes don't feel great. There are positives and there are negatives to Mercury. So it goes retrograde on the 10th of April. Now, we still got a Venus retrograde, then we've got a Saturn retrograde just started, and 4 days later we've got a Mercury retrograde, okay? And it lasts for about 3 weeks. And we always, every year, have at least 3 Mercury retrogrades. This year we've had 4 because the first one that ended in January started in December, it crossed over. So we got 4, had 4 last year and 4 this year. So we've got that also happening. So now you've got 2 planets now going retrograde, and you've got Mercury going retrograde on top of it. You've got back a 4-day window when Mercury comes in and goes, right, it's my turn now to mess with things. So it always lasts about 3 weeks. It's the quickest to go around the sun, 88 days, and it's the ruler of Geminis and Virgos as well. And it can, when it's a ruler, its traits that it magnifies is communication and technology in its glory. But when it's in its when it's standing still, when it's retrograde, it messes with those. It does the complete opposite. It's the one planet that really flips itself on its head. So the others sometimes really magnify, whereas Mercury, it does magnify some things, but it certainly does the opposite effects to what it does normally, basically. So hence why somebody on YouTube said their car broke down, because anything technological, you know, your phones, cars, you know, are bound to have problems. It's always a time to not purchase, you know, electrical devices. Try to avoid doing that because you might have to take it back. And also, just to add on with Saturn, if you're going to be signing any contracts during the Mercury retrograde, and particularly as Saturn has just gone direct, try to avoid signing contracts. So if you've got any contracts to sign, any divorce papers, any business things, try to get it in before the 10th. Or if not, you're going to have to wait until after the 3rd of May to make sure that you know, that there's no problems, basically, if that makes sense. So just some of the things just to be careful of. It does, and I see this all the time, it's normally when I'm at my most busiest, actually, during a Mercury retrograde. Why? Because it magnifies our negative thoughts on things, particularly people. We sometimes don't like them as much as we used to. So just be mindful of that. If you're suddenly thinking to yourself, particularly if you had success with the Venus retrograde, that an old flame came back, you may find very quickly as that love energy kind of dims down to some normality and then Mercury kicks in, that just for those first couple of weeks you might be like, they haven't changed at all. You might just start looking at them with all the things that you don't like about them instead of looking at all the things that are good. That's Mercury. It doesn't mean that they are bad. It just means that Mercury, helped with that insecurity of Saturn, is making you look at that person and going, you know, particularly if they took a long time to come back, you might be like, so after all this time, you just want to act like normal, like you display things out of proportion. And that's to do with everything. You could look at work colleagues in a negative situation. Anything that would mildly niggle you gets blown out of proportion. We look in the negative. We look sometimes in the hopeless. Do you understand? If you start to feel like that, it is Mercury energy, and that is the reason why. It can lead to misunderstandings. People, again, remember communication. People don't say what they mean, or they misinterpret it, and they think it means there's something else, or it went a different way. No. Again, that's what the energy of Mercury can do. And particularly as we get to the 16th and Venus has then gone away, you're just left with the energy of that go, go, go Saturn, work hard, achieve your goals. But you've also got misunderstandings and communication going awry because of how Mercury will affect how we think about things negatively. So I would say before that, remember that's going to happen, because then you can almost, even if you have to write it down on the wall, write on your wall, it's a Mercury retrograde, so that every day you wake up and you have a bad thought, you'll see that and go, oh yeah, and you'll take the thought out of your head. You'll ride through it a lot easier. What it is good at though, as well, particularly if, I think there's two things. It can break people up, but please trust me that if you break up during a Mercury retrograde, it is not going to last. People who break up in the Mercury retrograde get back together, basically. if it's also another time for exes to also step forward. So you've got two opportunities. You've got the Venus retrograde, and you've also got the Mercury retrograde, where people from the past will also step forward. But just like the Venus retrograde, anybody who starts a brand new relationship in the Mercury retrograde, they're pretty much almost never supposed to last very, very long. So it's almost like date during April. Don't commit. Don't really overly commit too much, unless they're existing people. All right. So it can help you to change your behavior. It can help you to plan things. So I would say here, take advantage of that planning now. If there's things you want to achieve with that lovely, beautiful Saturn energy, use the days before, those 4 days before, to plan out what it is you want to achieve, because that will help you combat and resist that Mercury energy, because you've already got Saturn on your side, but also you are just planned already for it. So I'm just exhausted talking about it, and we haven't got to the fourth one yet. I don't know how about you guys, but I'm tired. This is what I mean about April. It's going to be like that, but don't get paranoid about it. Be informed. And just know that Bella said, write Mercury retrograde on the wall. And when I feel like I'm being discombobulated, just know it's going to be fine. And it doesn't last long. It will be gone in 3 weeks as well. So quickly, before I go on to the last planet, we have the Mercury retrograde. Helen starts on the 10th or 11th, depending on where you are in the world as well. House lights flickered. Yours or mine? Whose house lights flickered? So we're going to go on to the last planet that goes retrograde in the month of April. It's a lot of information. It is. That's why you can watch this on repeat and maybe come through it. Come every time it gets to one of the dates for the next retrograde, just come back, fast forward it, and then you can focus on one bit at a time, because it is a lot. So hopefully you get me. And if you don't, watch it again. And if you don't, just, I don't know. I would say lock yourself in a room for a month, but that's not going to serve anybody. This is to empower you. Remember to raise your awareness that you can be one of those few people that just like, yeah, these planets can go all retrograde, but they're not going to get me. This is what this is for, so don't get scared. Right, Pluto. Pluto is going retrograde on the 19th, 20th of April, depending on where you are in the world. And again, it's one of the planets that lasts on average for about 3 or 4 months, but we've got it here for a long time. We've got it here for about, I think, about 8 or 9 months. But again, it's coming in just as Venus has gone, so it's still overlaying now 3 planets then. And it takes, because it's the 9th planet is the one that's furthest away, so it takes 248 years to go around the sun. But it always, just like Saturn, at least pays us a visit and goes retrograde at least once a year as well. So it's not uncommon. You know, probably before you even saw this, you wouldn't have even been aware, or you know, but at least when you look back on things, particularly in certain months and periods, if you had certain issues that came up either with change or transformation or technology, that you can then associate it with planetary activities. That's what the planets are, knowing about astrology will help you in terms of navigating that. So the star signs that this beautiful planet rules is Scorpio and Aries, and its traits in the good is change and transformation. And what I love about this planet is because it's going to be in retrograde, remember it's standing still, you know, sending off its big beautiful waves for change and transformation. Now that's not a bad thing in anybody's book. Definitely not a change, not a bad thing. Change is always good, even if it doesn't feel. It always leads us to a better place. But transformation, I always see it like a caterpillar changing into a butterfly. So I kind of want you to see here that Pluto is going to help you to change from your caterpillar experience you're having now to being a beautiful butterfly. That's the way to see this, but in a big and beautiful way. So the influencing energies are, it's a time basically to reflect on the changes that you want in your life. You know, that is for you, for your highest good. To not fear letting go, which I think is quite important, particularly if you are happening to be one of those people that are having the experience of having a Mercury retrograde, where perhaps you had a relationship, whether this is a partnership or a family member or a work colleague, where you've had to let go of that relationship or that connection. It's saying it's okay. It's saying it's a time to reflect. It's a time for you to change, that perhaps you have grown emotionally intelligently out of that connection, that you're onwards and upwards and you're being supported by this beautiful Pluto energy. Sometimes it can, and I think it's important because we are in the Mercury retrograde, it can, where that will magnify the negativity, and then you've got Saturn magnifying insecurities. Sometimes, because of, and I think it's probably highly likely because of those three planets all kind of there, that for some of you, you will maybe have difficulty expressing your personal power, and you may not communicate what is going on in the inside. I would say that's the worst thing to do. So if you've got good friends, good person in your life, even if you just have to write it down, make sure you're expressing yourself. Have a journal, whatever it is. Don't keep these feelings inside, because it's only going to help with the reflection and the letting go and the changing as well. It's a massive time for developing. This is what I love about Pluto. So if anybody is learning, learning to develop expand their consciousness, learning to develop psychic powers, anything that is spiritual of that nature, basically Pluto in this time is assisting that to come to you a lot more better, a lot more quicker. So it's basically a perfect time to become psychic. And I know you probably think, how can you become psychic? Well, if you don't know, go and see my video on my course that I do, because everybody can learn how to develop what I call extrasensory abilities or psychic abilities as well. But this energy of Pluto, when it goes retrograde, when it's magnifying, it's basically what psychics love, that power, that energy. It's a good time to stand outside, particularly when it starts to go retrograde as well, to give that boost. But it's a perfect time to develop spiritual awakening, I call it, or psychic powers, or your extrasensory abilities, which we all have. And again, if you'd like to know more about that, visit my website. Visit the links below. I will put the links below, and you'll be enlightened. It also can be a time for fated events as well. So fated events could also happen for you. Things that basically you, in your human aspect, had agreed to contractually visit, to start, to have happen to you. Again, this can be with all sorts of things, work, relationships. Mainly I feel probably will happen with relationships for most people, where something fated was supposed to happen in order for you to have change and transformation, and to let go, and to stand eventually in your personal power in the long term. Because like I say, with all things, you need, sometimes you need the contrast to get to the light. So, I'm totally exhausted going through all of those. So, good luck everybody. I'm only joking. It's going to be fine. It really is going to be fine. because you now have the roadmap. Basically, you know what's coming. You can use all the positive traits, because all of these planets, yes, they've got some negative, but they all have a positive. So you can make and set your intentions today to use the positivity of those planets to your advantage, because you can do that. Do not fear this. See it as an advantage you have over others in order to manifest your desires, just as Saturn would want you to do during this time. Use the positives of this planet to help you move forward, if that makes sense. And what I say here, all those values, if you don't get this any other way, just remember the traits of these planets and then see it as a story that is overlapping and intertwining in the month of April. So you've got love and values for Venus, the physical and psychological when it comes to Saturn, you've got communication and technology when it comes to Mercury, and you've got change and transformation when it comes to Pluto. If you can't, with all that information I just gave you, completely made your mind go bang, then just see all of those traits just having a bit of a dance all in April, and how you can dance along with it and not be afraid of it. So I hope that makes sense, guys. And if you did like this, then do share, do comment. But I'm not finished just yet, because we've got these cards to get through, don't we, to help you even more as you go through April. So again, before I reveal, which card did you choose? Did you choose number 1? Did you choose number 2? Or did you choose number 3? Pick now. Okay. So very quickly. So here we go. Right. Number 1. If you chose number 1, okay, you got the 3 of Swords. So I'm going to show that one to you. 3 of Swords. I think what this card for me is wanting you to know, as your overarching thing to think about, I would say be careful who you trust. So I would say here that energy of Saturn in particular asking you to consider things, and with Venus also about considering your values, and also with Pluto also wanting you to change the way that how you allow people to affect you would be important. I would say here that trust in terms of conversations you may have with people, or what you pick up on people's vibes, that you will be right. If you feel like you can't trust them, again, don't be hasty with a decision, be wise and calculated about it. But I would say here, for those of you who picked this card, that your intuition about not trusting them would be true. Okay, so you let the planets help magnify that, to help you to think, to ponder, to use, what's your values. But I would say here, whatever that is, and I'm getting highly that actually this applies quite a lot to work connections in particular. All right, so if you've been promised things, bonuses, things like that, I think it's all smoke and mirrors, basically. Do go, but by yourself if you need to transition, or you need to start up something new for yourself. If you pick that card, to use the energy of Saturn to help you navigate past and through this, so that you were building your castle yourself and not relying on other people who may not be trustworthy. So, number 2, if you chose number 2, you have the Magician. Can you see that? The light that might be good. You got the Magician card, which is beautiful, particularly when you talk about Pluto and transformation and change, and also when we talked about Saturn and that new learning, and then we talked about Pluto with psychic abilities and all of that. Basically, you are a chameleon. It means you can make magic happen. You can change lots of things. You can juggle all of that energy that Saturn is giving you in terms of go. You will be able to do that successfully. You can do more than one thing, basically. So if you chose number 2, it's asking you to recognize that you will be creating your own magic. Now, sometimes some people see this card as trickery, but I'm not getting that at all. So it's all good, it's all positive, no trickery going on here. Only your self-doubt would be the only person that you'd be tricking, so don't do that. So number 3, if you chose number 3, lovely card, you have the High Priestess. Hope you can see it. Look at the High Priestess. I would say here, just pretty simply, trust your intuition, trust your higher self. You know, if all else fails, if this video doesn't work, you know, if you're navigating it, just take a pause and ask yourself internally, what is it that I need to know for my highest good? Your first thought will always be your higher self giving you the right answer, but do it when you're calm, do it when you're in your presence. Ask yourself, what do I need to know for my higher self? If you need to make a choice, a decision, and you'll get the answer, because you have the High Priestess helping you, which is you, whether you're male or female, helping you to navigate through this energy. You will not get it wrong as long as you trust you. All right? You. So, I hope that's helped, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. Dawn says very helpful. Thank you so much. I hope I've not made your brains explode with all that information. Right, guys, thank you all so very much for joining me here. Again, if you've been watching this repeat, thank you so much for getting all the way to the end. And I hope you have a beautiful April, no matter where you are in the world. It's not that bad, really. Now that you're armed, now that you know how to navigate it, it's going to be fine. So I've been Bella. If you love this, then do like, do subscribe, or just join me at my Facebook page. The links are down below. And I will see everybody again next Sunday with another live talk, because I do these every week live as well. So take care, everybody, and have an amazing evening wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.